Okay, we're going to share with you this afternoon the following presentation. We are going to share with you how we are going to design a rubric, analytic marketing scheme, personal profile, a numerical profile, graphical profile, and bundle. What are those? Those are tools. Those are common tools that English teachers use for assessing the students' English learning process. As you know, we start the last unit designing, in this case, different kind of tests. This is a common written test. Yes, we usually participate in our classes thinking what kind of instrument as a teachers always design to our students, how we are going to assert the contents. Yes, the knowledge that I talk to my students before designing a test. You know, those kind of tests or instrument collect all the information that I teach to my students. Yes, written test as a tool, as a technique for evaluating the students' knowledges is a common tool used by English teachers and other specialties. So, what do you really evaluate through the written test? Well, you evaluate many kind of criteria. Also, do you choose other kind of indicators? You can evaluate, for example, grammar, you evaluate punctuation, all different kind of criteria related to written skill, especially. Yes. So how we are going to evaluate listening, how we are going to evaluate the speaking skill, or probably this is a reading skill. What kind of indicators or criteria you usually use to evaluate those skills in English? And also, you have to remember that currently some authors and researchers are thinking that we are going to add other kind of skills that they are going to share the rest of the usually four skills that we always work in English. Listening, speaking, reading, and writing. You have to add, for example, interculturality, and the other one is critical thinking. Yes, culture and critical thinking. How we are going to evaluate those skills. Yes, what kind of criteria, what kind of indicators we're going to use. So, first, what is an indicator? Yes, what do you think about that? Okay, they are going to share with you this information. The idea is that you try to understand what is that exactly. Okay, listen. Okay, this is the class for today. This is about indicators. I suppose that we're going to spend at least 1 hour. Okay, this is. Wait a minute. Okay, that's good. Okay, this evaluation is students' learning process. Criterion versus indicator. Yes, okay. What is a criteria is plural. Yes, but in singular, the word is criterion because this is a Latin root word that that kind of word suffered a kind of transformation used in English. Yes, this is a kind of this is a kind of techniques to translate, yes, from Latin into English. The name is préstamo or calco. Yes. This is one of declination in Latin. Yes. We are going to show you the other expression related with criterion. Remember, criterion is the expression of the word used in singular, but in plural is criteria. We have some criteria. There is a criterion, for example. Yes, but what is a criterion? No criteria. Criterion, for example, comes from Greek. This is criterion, meaning a standard from krites or krites, judge. This is the word in English. From krinein, to decide. This is the verb decide. Yes, this is judge or decides about something that you observe a common behavior or attitude in your students, and this is important. That why? Because it represents to you the most important ability a competence that you, the student, have to assume in order to understand or to get the ability according to a specific content. Yes? Okay, now, this is the definition of those terms. Yes, before we design, yes, we need to distinguish between the standard and the evidence. The standard is related with criterion, and the evidence is this indicator. This is the indicator, the evidence. Yes, the standard word is related with the criterion. Criterion is the singular word, but in plural is criteria. Remember, a criterion is a standard for judging something. If you are holding a cupcake, this is a common example competition, your number one criterion may be the smoothness or frosting. Yes, a criterion is a category for judging, but can also be a prerequisite for an achievement. Yes, a criterion is a broad standard or a dimension of performance. It tells the students what is being evaluated. It is the big picture category. An example, pronunciation. However, pronunciation is one criterion related with a specific skill in English. What is it exactly? For example, speaking. If you are going to evaluate an activity when you are going to make focus in the speaking skill, pronunciation could be one of the important criterion that you are going to use put in your paper when you are going to assess the students' ability. Yes, related with this skill. Now, what is an indicator? An indicator is most explicit. Why? An indicator is the specific and observable behavior that proves a student has met the criterion. Yes, it is the evidence you can actually see or hear during the lesson. This is the level achieved by your student according to one criterion. For example, if you are going to give your students about pronunciation from 1 to 5, one need to improve. Two is regular. Three could be good. Four is good, very good, and five it's excellent. Those are those are indicators. Yes, you can know through the observation how the students achieve the ability related with this specific skill. Yes, in this case we're working with pronunciation. We can work with other kind of criteria. For example, we can work with grammar, we can work with accuracy, we can work with coherence, cohesion, punctuation. Those kind of criteria depend on what kind of ability of English you are going to assess. Yes. Example, the student correctly applies word stress in multiple syllabic words. A quick note for your students. Why? Criterion is something used in specific technical fields. Yes, criterion is like similar like the word criterion. Some cases you as a teacher can read in some books and all books, for example, the word criterion like a synonymous of criterion. Yes, for that reason, don't worry. It's sometimes used in specific technical fields. In English, linguistics, and education, we typically use criterion for singular and criteria for the plural, right? For that reason, don't worry for that, because in some cases, this is the same. Okay, now this is criteria. This is an example that I have in this presentation, as you know. For example, criteria refers to multiple standard or conditions used when there are several factors to consider because it's plural. Yes. For example, criterion is most specific. In this case, is singular, just one. Refers to a single standard or condition used when there's only one factor at play. For example, the most important criterion that you as a teacher use to evaluate, in this case, the speaking skill is pronunciation, right? For writing could be coherence or grammar. For listening, which could be. For reading, which could be. In this case, reading, intonation could be, and listening. Yes, you have to be careful of this. So next time you are setting standard or making a judgment, remember criteria for many criterion. For one, use the code, share this, spread the word, and so on. This is a page that we are going to share with you, this address, in order that you to get more information, right? How we are going to design a criterion and indicators. To design effective and qualitative tools like rubrics or checklists. You know what is a rubric? We're going to show you some typical examples to design a rubric. Our checklist is more single tool. Yes, those are qualitative instruments. Yes, they aren't quantitative. Probably you can become those tools as a quantitative, or you can combine a quantitative tool in one instrument. You can work with two approaches, qualitative and quantitative, in one tool. Exactly. For example, you can work with a rubric or a checklist. Follow these three steps. That were design logic. The first one is start with the competency. Look at your curriculum always. What do you really want that your students achieve through that content? Look at your curriculum, your program. Yes, the students can order food in a restaurant in English. What kind of models, vocabulary they have to use normally in a real context? Yes, identify the criteria. What ingredients make the goal successful? Yes, example, vocabulary, fluency, interaction, knowledge of the content, vocabulary, and others. Yes, draft the indicators. Draft the indicators. For each ingredient, what is the specific action? Use action verbs specifically. Well, when we work with indicators, you have to use not the specific verb. You have to use, in this case, action verbs, non-action verbs. But you are going to write, yes, you have to write those verbs in a base form, not infinitive. It identifies, produce, connects, explains. Could be. An example in Spanish we're going to give you later, right? In order to understand every step developed here to design your rubric checklist as a qualitative tool. Okay, when you are going to start designing your tool, qualitative tool, you have to think in those skills: listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Yes, you can design, for example, different kind of tool for writing, for reading, or for speaking, or for evaluating listening. Yes, you can work with a common checklist. Checklist, if you remember, yes, no, yes. It is through the observation you can know, and you are going to identify the evidence through your students about how those are working with a specific content, what kind of ability they need to develop. And the student try to record or register every one of those behavior that you can know how, on which level the student achieve. Yes, for every one of those contents. But first of all, through your own experience that you develop during your teaching process, you can know how you are going to divide, how many kind of indicators you are going to develop according with each criteria that you are thinking probably can work if to evaluate some activities. Yes, if you are working with a test, you are going to apply a test, a written test, or maybe you are going to evaluate an oral presentation, an essay, I don't know, or role play or dramatizations. Yes, and so on. We have different kinds of activities, no strategies. Those are activities. Yes, okay, now let me show you. This is a kind of This is to how what kind of criterion we use to evaluate a specific skills. This is an example of indicator. Yes, this is the evidence. Okay, this is for speaking. For example, we are going to evaluate fluency. For speaking, also we can work with pronunciation, intonation, for example, grammar, yes, coherence, precise, accuracy, and others. But in this case, we are going to work just with fluency as a criterion. Example of indicators. Spend minimal time searching for words. Use fillers. Well, you know what does it mean? Naturally. Es decir, repetir palabras. This is muletilla. Yes? For speaking, we have interactive communication. You can know that your students, you could watch eyes contact with your classmates. Meanwhile, you're speaking about the topic developed by you in the conversation, and those students can interact. This is an interactive communication. Example of indicator reacts appropriately to the interlocutor's questions and maintains the flow. Yes. Listening, global comprehension identifies the main idea or the guest of a recorded conversation. This is for listening. Listening is one of the most important skills, so it's difficult to identify criterion and indicator, right? Why? Because listening probably working with the speaking. And while you're speaking, the other person listen to you, and you try to recognize how those students can understand something that you said to him, for example, or said to her, or whatever. Yes, inferential comprehension detects speaker's mood or attitude based on let me see their tone of voice. Yes, those are other examples. I'm going to show you single samples about how you are going to identify a design, a criterion, an indicator according to different skill. Just we are working with speaking and listening in this case. Now, for reading and for writing, there is a good relationship between reading and writing and listening and speaking, right? Criterion. Reading, scanning for details. Scanning for detail. I don't know if you remember the strategies for reading and comprehension. Scanning and skimming. This is scanning for detail. Locate specific dates, name or price, wedding, a promotional flyer. Yes. Reading, contextual vocabulary. A vocabulary according to the content. That could be the other expression used as a criterion. Deduce the meaning of unknown words used in surrounding sentences. Yes. Writing, cohesion and coherence. Use transition words. Example, however, therefore, first, second, to link ideas logically. And the last one, writing, register, tone. Adapts the level of formality, formal versus informal, based on the target audience. Yes, audience. Now, that could be a kind of this is other example of rubric. As you can see, yes, this is cross and down. You could see like steps. Those are the criteria. Criteria. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 criteria. But look at this one. Planning and brainstorming. First draft, rush copy, revise, edit, final copy, and publish. Those are criteria to evaluate what kind of skill. Tell me, what kind of skill are you evaluating through those kind of criteria? Planning, brainstorming, first draft, roach copy, and so on. What kind of skill of English are you evaluating this in this activity? Do you understand or no? Do you have a doubt or
Maybe
no? Uh-huh.
um, critical thinking.
Probably, but I don't feel sure. Okay, in this case, probably we can evaluate critical thinking, but what kind of skill specifically? What kind of skill? Listen, planning, brainstorming, first draft, roach copy. Roach copy is like this is when you are thinking about your written composition, your NSA, something like that. You are thinking in the listen speaking writing skill, writing in this case. This is the academic writing process. This is the first pre-writing process. Yes, I don't know if you remember. I don't know who was your teacher about writing process, academic writing process. I remember that Professor Natalie explained you, for example, the pre-writing process. In the academic writing process, we have two steps, the big step. The first one is about pre-writing, and the second one is writing. The first step is about pre-writing, and this process includes planning, brainstorming, like a techniques of pre-writing, first draft, rough copy, outlining, revise, edit, final copy, and publish. Those are the criteria, right? Planning, planning. What are you talking? Are you going to write? What could be the topic, the theme? Brainstorming in your mind the ideas you are going to develop, right? The listing. First draft, the first one. Roach copy, the second. You try to check mistakes and errors. Yes, this is a self-evaluation or co-evaluation. And you can find, for example, number one, number two, number three, and number four. Number one, need to improve. Number two, Number two could be good or basic. And number three, proficiency or prophecy and goal. This is excellent. From we are going to get as a score 20 points, right? Never use bad indicators in order to your classmates feel terrible. You have to use positive positive indicators. The idea is that they try to improve the skills, right? Example, need to improve the abilities. That is good, very good, or excellent. You are going to evaluate from 0 or 1 until 20 points in this case, right? You could see, for example, number one. No, I don't know. It's impossible to read. For you can say no, no, no. Here is the best. You repeat in every of those descriptions. Yes, everything related with this criteria, and those with this criteria, with this criterion. Sorry, our criterion, and those are indicators. Those are the different level of achievement of your students. How the students, for example, develop the ability step by step. Yes. You are going to repeat this process, but in Spanish because we never work this in English. This you are going to accept to word these rubrics in Spanish. Yes. First draft, you could read the same situation. Yes, in planning or brainstorming, you have to repeat, but in this case, really with the first draft. I am going to show you others. In this case, oral presentation rubrics. Excellent. This is in reverse. Excellent is 4, great 3, good 2, okay 1. Need to improve. Yes. For example, presentation 4 minutes long. Presentation is about 3 minutes long. Presentation 2 less than 1 minute or more than 5 minutes long. Yes. Content, preparedness, enthusiasm, speaks clearly, creativity, and so on. And you explain, for example, how is the characteristics or the profile of the students like an excellent related with this criterion, right? Speak clearly. For example, speak clearly and directly and 195% the time. I can read it, no words, but and so on. And you try to repeat common expressions for each one. More, few, more than one word, more than a few words. Yes, step by step, you have to develop every one of those descriptions from a good until need to improve or bad. Yes, for everyone. I also show you others. For example, in this case, is oral presentation rubric. Listen, criteria, organization, style, pace, content, depth, content, accuracy, uses visual aid, audience, for example, yes, responsiveness to audience, presentation about organization, for example, excellent, good, fair, and poor. What happened? You mix, this is qualitative when you add excellent, good, fair, and poor, and you become this rubric in a quantitative rubric when you put a grade for every one of those descriptions. Number 4, 3 points, 2 points, or 1 point. For example, organization. Presentation is clear and logical. Listener can easily follow line of reasoning. Number 3, another idea is that you compare both description and you can know differences. Presentation is generally clear. Here is clear and logical, but we are going to work with this attitude. Generally clear. A few minor points may be confusing, right? Number 2, fair. Listener can follow presentation with effort. Organization not well thought out. Number 1, presentation is very confused and unclear. Listeners cannot follow it. And you can know we repeat this situation in every description related with this criterion or criterion, right? The same for this one, and others. Here we have this presentation. Yes, you can note here, in this case, we are working with, this is vocabulary, grammar, fluency, communication, and pronunciation. We're evaluating oral presentation activity, right? Vocabulary, use only basic vocabulary and expression. Need improvement or need to improve. The other, use limited vocabulary and expression. Notably achieved, use a variety of vocabulary and expression, but make some errors and word choice. Yes. Another is use a variety of vocabulary and expression. This is number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4. Number 1, need to improve. This probably is good. This is or regular. That could be good or very good. This is the last one is excellent. Grammar. Use basic structures, make frequent errors. Use a variety of structures with frequent errors or use basic structure with only occasional errors. Use a variety of grammar structures but make some errors. Here you don't see errors. Use a variety of structure with only occasional grammar error, right? Fluency, communication, pronunciation, frequent problems with pronunciation and intonation. Pronunciation and intonation errors sometimes make it difficult to understand the student. Pronunciation and intonation are usually clear, accurate with a few problem area. Pronunciation and intonation are almost always very clear, accurate. Yeah. As you can see, every descriptions are related with this criterion. So we are going to use the same expressions, but we are going to add other adjective. In this case, to note, for example, the progress of the students, if they need to improve, if the attitude of the profile shown by the student in front of this ability probably is good, probably is regular, or probably is very good or excellent, right? This is used for our skill. This is a mind map rubric. This is in English. We're working with one strategy. This is other activity. Mind map rubric. As you can see here, you are going to work with organization of the content. You can work with the design, creativity. The students write. Yes, the students write content in English. For example, this is a neatness presentation, use of image as symbols, use of color. Yes, for example, 5 is good, 5 is excellent. Four probably is very good. Three is regular or good. Two is need to improve. One is zero. But example, the my mouth was well presented and all the information is easy to understand. The mind map, and we are going to repeat the same expressions, was well presented, and most of the information, not all the information, most of the information is easy to understand. We can repeat expressions, but you are going to add other adjective in order to put less using less activity, less information or less adjective. Yes, in order to show your student that they need to improve this ability. The mind map was mostly well presented, but some of the information was difficult to understand. The mind map was not made enough to understand math concept, and the mind map was not made enough to understand. And so we repeat the same situation with others. Yes. Okay. We have here. This is a book review grading rubrics. You can see those are the category, or they could be, for example, the common criteria. In some cases, we can read no criteria. You can see, for example, category or dimensions. I don't know, could be characteristics for assessing the students' activities. Yes, but here we can see categories: spelling, grammar, introduction, description of book, analysis of character, and conclusion. And they are working with this criteria. They are not working with discretion like a good, need to improve, or for example, excellent, very good. No, we are working just with number 4, 3, 2, 1. And you are going to, if you are working with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, probably you are going to mix the number of criteria with a specific scale. Yes, if you are going to get 3, here we're going to get 2, we're going to get 4, we're going to get 0, we're going to get 5 or 4. For example, this is the this is the for example the number of this scale. Yes. Okay, and you are going to add those qualifications in order to get over 20 points, probably 11, 12, or 13, or 15. Yes, but in this case, if this is a description, you combine the descriptions with number. In that case, we are working with a numerical profile. This is a kind of numerical profile. This is the other name of other tool that we are going to use to evaluate the students' progress through qualitative tools. Yes. Here we have others. This is presentation. This is rubric de stand. This is about presentation del stand, trabajo en grupo, exposición del tema y uso del vocabulario y estructura gramaticales. This is presentation. This is working group. This is presentation of the topic, use of vocabulary and grammar structure. Could be. Yes, they are working from 0. This is 100%. Ok, nos queda un minuto. Si se cae, abrimos la siguiente invitación para explicarle cómo vamos a trabajar en inglés. Fíjese que estamos trabajando en español, porque esa es la realidad con la que se trabaja. Los que hemos visto ahorita han sido en inglés y aquí los tenemos es en español, porque esa es la realidad nuestra. Tenemos otro por acá que es más explícito, más colegiable y es el que se maneja actualmente a nivel de inglés en el sistema de educación venezolano. ¿Sí? Aquí estamos trabajando. Ya nos vamos con fluidez, estructura, vocabulario, pronunciación, tiempo verbal y contenido. Y tenemos los niveles de desempeño que son los indicadores como excelente, bueno, regular, suficiente y debe mejorar. ¿Tienen alguna duda por el momento?